What's going on, everybody? So this video is basically going to be my setups in my 3 gas RC trucks, what I'm running, what I'm putting in them, and how they're set up for me. So here we go. We'll start out with my Losi 5T. My Losi 5T is currently running, as you can see, I have Hostile tires, which I am in desperate disarray for tires, especially in the backs. It has the Team Losi gold springs. They say they're gold or orange, or they're really copper. They're the heaviest springs that you can get. It has the Mad Max LED light pods controlled by a Turnigy LED control unit that I control off the 4th channel of my controller. For radio system, I run a Spectrum DX4S. It has the Team Losi aluminum chassis braces, as well as the steering bulkhead brace. It runs Team Fast Eddy bearings all the way around. For shock oil, I am running 40 weight in the front and 50 weight in the back. For differential setups, I am running 200,000 in the center, 100,000 in the rear, and 30,000 in the front. For servos, I am running a Savox throttle servo and the stock Losi steering servo. It runs a Zenoa G320 engine with a relocation Turtle Racing air filter with a HPI Baja filter setup. It runs a Vertigo clutch bell with a Vertigo 20-tooth pinion, and also it's the larger Vertigo clutch that uses the large hex. As you can see, this is the 22 gear that I also have for it. So you can see it runs the larger hex. Back of the truck, it also has a Victory big bore pipe. It has a Team Chase steering drag link, as you can see. A lot of grass in there. I run outerwears all the way around on the truck. And also I have, kind of hard to see, but I use the MIP head studs. They allow me to really bolt the header down instead of trying to sneak like a 4mm ball driver in there to tighten them down. Also, that you cannot see, I run Team Fast Eddy droop screw bump stops. It helps the bump stops from they're bump stops for the steering adjustments for the droop screws, and it helps that from gouging the chassis. You guys, I have a video up of me installing those, so if you want to look back, you can see what I'm talking about. For battery, I am running, happens to be out of the truck right now, DDM 7200 2S receiver pack. Also, it's running silverback beadlock rings and full force axle boots. Also, it has full force fuel lines. The brakes are stock. Oh, and also it has the quick change throttle on there for the throttle linkage to allow quick change. And also, I think I mentioned it before, but it has a killer RC kill switch in this as well. Next up on the list, my Baja 5 SC. My Baja 5 SC is currently running Proline trencher tires front and rear. And on the truck currently are the stock wheels and silverback beadlock rings. I do have Proline split 6 wheels on the way for this. It runs a Team Chase front bumper mount, Team Chase roll cage. It has a DDM Dominator silence pipe with a custom extension that I made to kind of dump outside the chassis. I upgraded to some of the orange Baja SS parts. It has the Team Chase roll cage. I deleted the short course bumper. It also has, but really used, a Woodster Body, as you can see, it's quite dirty and dusty from mainly sitting around because this is pretty much how the truck gets run at all times. It has a King Motors aluminum clutch brace, which, by the way, it does work very well on this truck. It keeps everything nice and stable. It has an Mtxl air filter angle kit, which helps angle the air filter up to kind of get it away from the gas tank for easier air filter changes. It has wheel spacers. It's a 1/2 inch on each side for a total of an inch wider track. It definitely helped out the stability of this truck quite a bit by widening the track of the truck. For shocks and springs, they are new, but they are still stock. I'm going to go to a lighter spring in the back because it's a little stiff for my taste of how I like it. And also, this runs outerwears again all the way around on the truck. It also has Killer RC suspension limiting straps, front and back. Also, I believe I mentioned already, but I don't remember. It has a Killer RC kill switch installed in this thing as well. Is that all for this? I believe that. Oh, also this truck is, as well as the 5T, it is also running a vertical clutch bell, but it is running stock gearing at the moment. Now with the, and biggest thing I didn't mention, it also has a Zenoa G320. So both my Baja SE and my 5T both run Zenoa G320s. So that's what I forgot. It does have a G320 in it. Is that all I have done to this truck? As far as servos, it has a high-tech, super high torque throttle and brake servo, and it has a Savox super high torque, high voltage steering servo installed. It is running the stock 6-volt receiver pack. Reason why I have not upgraded to a LiPo pack is currently my throttle servo is not a high voltage servo, so I would have to upgrade that, and I just put a bunch of money into this truck. So right now I'm going to hold off. Eventually I will go LiPo because I like how fast the servos are on a LiPo pack. So that is the next step for this truck. We'll be getting a new steering servo and a LiPo receiver pack. And I believe that is it for the Baja. Air filters are stock. Everything else is stock. Braces. Nothing else has changed. I do want to get some chassis braces or some shock tower braces for this thing. I would love to get the Turtle Racing HD plates in orange, but everywhere I look, I can only find them in gunmetal, silver, and black. So I don't know if Turtle Racing has discontinued the orange ones. I've already had to put a transmission case in this, so if it happens again, I'm going to be upgrading to the Turtle Racing aluminum tranny case. Only benefit about that, it has a quick change diff unit on it. Oh, and also, I'm sorry, for differential fluid, I'm running 50,000 weight oil in the rear diff. Again, being a two-wheel drive truck, I wanted to be able to turn, and I wasn't sure about putting 100,000 like I did in the 5T. With the 50,000, I find it more than satisfactory. Also, on this truck, not pictured, I do have a set of paddle tires. They're just upstairs, and I don't feel like grabbing them. Next on the agenda, really nothing to see here. Losi Mtxl. Primarily, this truck is 100% stock. The only upgrades to this truck is it has, let's see if I can zoom in on it. I don't think you can even see it. Oh, right down there. It has the aluminum steering link on the bottom where the servo connects to, because when this truck was 5 minutes old, it was actually incredibly cold, and it rolled into a curb. Literally, I mean rolled into a curb, and it broke that. So I just bought the aluminum replacement at that point. For servos, it's all 100% stock. It runs the Losi steering servos, 2 for the steering, 1 for the throttle. It has the Losi high torque or high tune pipe. The reason why this truck is running this pipe, now currently that pipe is for a Losi 5T, but as you can see, it does fit in the truck quite well. I had saw it on eBay and I purchased it. So I got this pipe, the full force axle boots for my 5T, some full force boot covers, and some air filter elements and things like that for 50 bucks. I mean, not bad for a $150 pipe, and it really does wake this truck up. It's not a screamer in top end. It's more of a low end pipe, but that's exactly what I want out of this truck. I don't want a missile. I have 2 other trucks for that. This is like taking my backyard and just rip around, and it does that quite nicely. It gets out of the hole incredibly fast. It's actually probably, if my Baja doesn't hook up, this thing will kill it out of the hole, which is a lot to say. I've lined up against many a trucks, and this thing has taken all of them out of the hole. But the second the race gets started, you know, they just overtake it. So other than the pipe, the only other modification or change I made to this truck was the air filter element. Now, why did I change the air filter element, you say? Well, number one, it had that square air filter element, which everybody says is the best flowing air filter, but it wasn't like the 5Ts. It is, in a sense, the 5T air filter, but it's not encased in that nice housing like the 5T. So when, excuse me for a second. Sorry about that. So when I changed the air filter element on my 5T, I had this guy lying around. So that is the stock air filter element from the 5T on the bind and drive. I had a bunch of filter elements, so I have them for quick change. And I already had the outerwears and everything for it. So I just ran with that, and it's been more than good. For diffs, I am running 100,000 in the rear, 100,000 in the front, and 1 million in the center. Why 1 million? Because I want this thing to be a monster truck. This thing is my hill climbing, bashing freak machine. That's what this truck is. It brings me nothing but smiles, and plus with that pipe, it's loud, it's obnoxious, and it sounds great. It is the stock Chungyang 29, which I have to say, for being a Chungyang, it is a 4-bolt engine, and I am actually quite impressed with both of these engines. I mean, with this engine. It is it's a stout engine, it's got plenty of power, but of course I said that I would never put an engine in this thing because I like the way it's set. There's now a G320. So probably in the next couple months or weeks or tomorrow or whatever, I don't know, there'll be probably a new engine going in this thing at one point in the future. Probably a G320, so all my trucks will have G320s. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, this guy does have the Killer RC pull start with the metal pull cord. Also has from DDM the steel cog, the starting cog. So it is a good investment because so far, knock on wood, I haven't had a single problem since I upgraded to that. Because my next step was going to be going to that Turtle Racing pull start, and 120 bucks is, you know, to me that's a lot of money to spend on a pull start when I spent 30 bucks and got a steel pull cord. So again, that's my setup. Any questions, feel free to ask. So these are my 3 gas trucks: Losi Mtxl, Baja 5SC, Losi 5T. This is my setup. This is how they sit, and that's it till next time. All right, guys, later.